All right, next up, we want to generate these quantities for the shopping list properly. So I'm going to go back into our meal plan controller where we have all this logic. And instead of just adding shopping list items, what we need to do is for each of the ingredients, and to be honest, we can't even use this method because we don't just need the ingredients. We need the quantity of each ingredient in the we need the quantity of each ingredient with the in each recipe, and then we need to add them and multiply them and all of that stuff. So we'll say ingredients with quantity. So we'll say ingredients with quantities, and then we'll go into the meal plan and figure out how to make that happen. So this is obviously going to return a list of ingredients, but it is going to So we're going to go through every meal, and we're going to go through every recipe of every meal. And for every recipe of every meal, we want to add to the quantity. In fact, dot recipe. If we go on to recipe, we can see that it has a recipe ingredient. So we'll do recipe ingredients where ingredient is the ingredient. Try quantity. So we'll add to the quantity that or nothing. So if there is if there are multiple ingredients, so for all of the ingredients where the ingredient is the ingredient in that recipe, get the quantity and add it. And in fact, that should work, because sum on an empty array should be 0. So let's just make sure, yeah, that should work. So quantity for the, and then we return the quantity. So that should do it. So we can say quantity for ingredients. Sorry, I should be talking into the microphone. We can say for all of the ingredients, we want to create a new struct. We'll add to the results a new version of this struct with the ingredient and the quantity for that ingredient. And then we will return the results. So now we're returning this exact structure. So shopping list items now becomes meal plan dot ingredients with quantities. And this can go away. There's going to be an error, you know it. Undefined method, recipe ingredients for, oh, okay, so recipe flatten. So for all of the recipes, we have to flatten that result set. And I have screwed up my map syntax again. I can't believe it worked. 30. Oh, you know what? The quantities, though, this is a little trickier. Because for quantity, we do want to return this, but the ingredient wait, what? Huh, that's interesting. So, oh no, this is a real challenge. So in the recipe, in the recipe, it specifies how much of something it needs. So you think some things need 1 cup of sugar, and then other things need 1 teaspoon of sugar. So sugar doesn't have a standard measurement. Oh, this is cool. Give me a second. So ingredients don't have a standard measurement across all recipes. So one of the problems that we have right now is that we've summed all of the quantities without being able to standardize the measurement. Oh, this is an interesting problem. So the way that I'm going to solve this right now is I'm going to put these on the shopping list separately for the different quantities that, and then leave it up to the shopper to consolidate those. In the future, I may be able to do some math and but it's not something that I want to think about right now. So what we'll end up doing here is going through and getting we'll do a quantity for measurement. All right, so dun dun dun. What do I want to? Measurements, quantities. This will be a hash. There's no longer, and so what we'll do, so for each recipe ingredient, we will, in this hash, the first time we see a recipe ingredient, so let's look at the schema. The first time we see a measurement, a measurement, the first time we see a new measurement for a ingredient, we will create the quantity, and then we will add the recipe ingredient quantity to that value. Then when we're generating the result, in fact, I'm going to make this just the object. I think that should work. There we go. And that should do the trick. Okay, so that's working. Oh, whoops, that's going to be a syntax error. That doesn't make any sense. So what is going wrong here? In fact, quantity is not optional, but I will give it a default value. Ah, got it. Look at that. See, it works. And it would work pretty well too if we had another, say if I, in my Greek chicken for dinner, if I do, say I go into the Greek chicken dinner, and then I'm going to add, oh, there's no recipes. Let's do, I know here's what we'll do. In the steamed broccoli, we will add some bacon bits or whatever, but we'll just add, so this has some bacon in it as well. Now, when we go back to the meal plans, we didn't add them. Okay. So when we go back to the meal plans, we should see that it uses both 30 strips and 6 tablespoons. Isn't that cool? So now we have our quantities. That's it. We're all done. We'll have to clean up these numbers. Obviously, things like a quarter cup, we don't want to put like 0.25 or whatever. But the point is, this is working. This is a shopping list. And the idea right now is that if I print off the shopping list, I know that I can just scratch certain things out. But if we'll want to add some functionality in the future where it can say on Thursday night when it generates the list, hey, on Friday morning, can you just check here and tell us what things you already have? And if you already have these items on your list, then the shopper won't have to go get them. So there should be some way of like scratching stuff out for a given week. But to be honest, I think that I can do that with a simpler, I don't think we necessarily have to even have I don't think we necessarily have to have a whole nother section of the database. Like, I don't think we need a total data model for that. I think I can store a list of IDs for item names, and then on those items, just store an ID like we already have this, and then it shows scratched out. So anyway, we will keep working on that, but this is pretty solid feature already, so I'll come back to it later.